Hi, this is Simon Moon from Simon Moon Music, and this is the second in a series of tutorials about on how to produce music with Bitwig Studio. Last time I set up a project template that we are using as a starting point right now, and to give us something to work with throughout the next tutorials, I think we should start a song. And I want to do this based on the samples that Bitwig Studio already comes with, so that everybody using Bitwig Studio can really try this out without having to buy sample packs or additional content. Okay, so let's see what we did last time. We set up a template which we called template, very clever, and that's what we ended up with last time. As you may have noticed, I used new from template in order to get there. Okay. Another thing worth noting is typically when I work with Bitwig Studio, okay, let me go to options, preferences real quick. I have two displays, and the resolution is extremely high of those displays, so I have a lot more room to work with. The workspace is much larger. But if I used this resolution, then you probably wouldn't be able to see anything in the video, because the characters would be too small, and you probably wouldn't be able to see the mouse pointer, and so on and so on. And as a consequence, I'm using a very reduced workspace for these tutorials, but no problem for Bitwig. It's still very well organized, good workflows, and well, let's start with the song. Like I said, Bitwig comes with a couple of pre-installed, well, you have to download them, sample packs, like, you know, this is Bitwig content, and then there are some third-party packs, and I want Voice of India bundle, why not? Okay, and in these folders, at least the leaf folders, that's where you find the samples, and if you click on them you don't hear anything, because first of all you have to activate this little icon here, and this enables previewing the samples. Why not? And then maybe a female voice to complement this. Okay, let's see where this will take us. Okay, we have two vocal tracks in here. One thing that I typically do for a start is I know that both are 90 BPM. No, this one's not. Okay, let me just... Yes, but it's still the same pitch. So obviously this one is 105 dot something BPM. If it wasn't, you'd hear it by... you'd hear a pitch difference from the original. The original is what you always hear. So this is definitely always played in the right speed. Okay, so no need to worry about that. And this is 90 BPM, which is what it says here anyways. Now the problem is that this is in F and this is in D, but we'll take care of that in a second. First of all, I want to move these into our vocal group, because that's what I created this one for. And This is F, this is D. So if I pitch down the F sample, both should actually match unless one was in major and the other in a minor scale, but let's simply see if it works. Another thing, if you click on any element in Bitwig Studio, you see there are pieces of information on the left side, and you can add this to your view by clicking on this little eye in the lower left corner. And if I select one of the samples, then I have specific information on this arranger clip. And as you can see down here, it says pitch, and I can change the pitch in cents. I can type in a specific number, or I can simply use these buttons down here to pitch it down an octave or a semitone. And I've pitched it down 3 semitones, so let's hear it. Oh, sorry. Okay, that's better. Another thing, these samples are rather long. I probably won't use all of the content. Okay. I probably, oh sorry, probably only use this section here and make them overlap. I'll adjust that later on. Probably won't work this way. And another thing I have to do is, now the way it's set up, Bitwig loops this single bar here, indicated by this gray bar on top. If I extend this, I have all 4 bars selected, and since this is, what does it say on the tooltip, arranger loop, set to arranger loop, it loops over and over again. Okay, so let's listen to this real quick. Oh, sorry. Unsolo this. Sometimes it's difficult up here to click at the correct position in order to change the starting position for the clip. Okay, so what did we say? This is D, obviously, I guess D minor, and it sounds pretty Goa to me already, so why not make a Psytrance track? But in order to do so, I think we have to make some adjustments to our drum MIDI here, because one typical element of a Psytrance track is 4 to the floor kicks. And they are far too soft. So if I double click here, Bitwig takes me right to our drum machine. And if I double click this pad, then I get all the parameters to update and change. There's a couple more things set up here which I don't want to go into detail right now, but I'll show you that in later tutorials. Okay, obviously this kick is far too soft. We need more gain. Just make sure that it doesn't clip, but I guess it somehow will most probably have to be much louder, and the problem is, oh sorry, I can't make it much louder because this already, the peak already goes pretty close to 0 dB, and at this stage of the project I don't want to go too close to 0 dB because I lose headroom that I will need later on. And that is why I do something that I wouldn't typically do at this stage of the project. Okay, let me see. I want only Bitwig effects and I want a compressor. Okay. So what's a compressor doing? In a nutshell, everything that is below this threshold will remain untouched by the compressor as long as I don't change something with the gain. So if I increase the gain, obviously the volume of everything below this threshold also gets changed. But the trick is, if I solo the drum kit real quick, and you see every time the kick hits, the volume gets reduced. If I lower the threshold further and increase the ratio, this gets pretty dramatic. And if I increase, so everything is obviously not very loud anymore. It gets softer, and I can compensate that by increasing volume again. And I can do that safely now in a way that the parts which initially haven't been very loud, because they are below this threshold, get louder, and the peaks are where they have been. So overall I increase the loudness. It's a bit more complicated than that, but I think this requires a different tutorial. But for now, we'll just leave it at that. I reduce the ratio again because I want that effect to be heard in the track. I just want a little headroom to increase loudness. Okay? So, what's next? Basses. In Psytrance, it's a very typical thing to have offbeat basses. What I mean by that, you'll soon notice as soon as I put them in here, but that was too high. An octave lower, it sounds much better. Okay, and we simply copy that or duplicate it, and you can hear already the typical Psytrance groove. And in order to make this a little bit more interesting, we'll add a bit of variation. Oh, sorry, I said it's D minor, so it's not F sharp, it's F. And let me see if I can make the transients a bit sharper if I shorten the notes, because then the synth has a bit more time to re-trigger the note in these gaps here. Okay, I duplicate this pattern and also add some changes. Okay, and then duplicate the whole thing again, and what we end up with is this. Okay, and now the pads. Again, we're in F. Whoa. It's the Zen room. Okay, so we start with F like this. And another thing, if I want to have long sustained notes, then a 1-bar pattern just won't do, because obviously I can't extend the note anymore here. And with pads you typically have long sustained notes, and that's why I extend the pad to give me room for longer notes. Okay, so let me see. That's okay, but it might get a bit boring if we leave everything in D minor, so let's try an F major for a change and see what this sounds like. Okay, so and just to avoid a shitstorm right away, I know that this isn't an F major as long as I have only one note, but now it is. And maybe take a fourth to make it sound more interesting. And I add another note here. And make this one a bit softer. Now, if you want to access the MIDI parameters for a given MIDI note in Bitwig, you click this little icon here, note expression, and I want to reduce velocity for just this note. So I select it, I highlight it, and reduce velocity. And we could maybe even make the start a little bit earlier to give it a softer progression. Oh, this one just doesn't fit. Softer. Okay, let's not experiment too much. Now we have our D minor here. First two bars, D minor, F major. That should do. To have something to start from, I just toggle the note expression section one more time because I need the space, I need the room. What do we have by now? We have vocals, but these are not color-coded. So now it starts to show why it makes sense to color-code everything, because if you stick to a specific scheme, then you won't have a hard time, even in a very crowded project, to find your vocals immediately, your bass, and so on. You can pick different colors if you like. They just have to be meaningful in a way for you. Okay, so this is the start of our song. And one thing I forgot, and you should never forget that when working on a project, is I didn't save all the time. So I save the project right now, and in Bitwig Studio, if you save a project for the first time, it takes you to the default place where the project is stored, and you simply add a name. What was this called? The vocal Rajasthani. Okay, so let's call this Rajasthani, and that's the name of our project. And if I open up the Save As dialog, then you see under projects it has created the folder, and in here you have this project. Okay, so I would like to leave it at that for today. In the next tutorial I think we'll have a look at Psytrance in order to add Hall, in order to add space by using reverb, by using delay, and this way I think that's the best way to explain how Psytrance actually work. What else can we do? We can develop the track a bit further, and I'll show you basic principles of leveling. But for this tutorial I think that should do. I hope you like it. If you do so, please follow me, like this video, and yeah, have a good time. Hope to see you in the next tutorial.